long ball. It's going to go for a touchdown. The game's over. Webster Slaughter.
Metcalf will go for the score. Unbelievable.
45-40. Run, William, run. He's got blockers in front. 5. Touchdown. Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score.
Sight wants it all on this one for Logan, and he is there.
Jim Brown to the 30. Jim Brown is going to go in for another touchdown.
The Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
Wow.
It is Baker Mayfield.
Hello, Cleveland. Welcome to another episode of the 1085 Grand Podcast. It is episode number 80. I am your host, Anthony Joki, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host of the North Coast Sports, Jack McCurry. How you doing tonight, Jack?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Had a nice evening out, so feeling good and ready to talk some Browns. And obviously, we have a lot to talk about here. We're going to start out with some news, and then we'll get into previewing the Browns and Los Angeles Chargers matchup this Sunday. But first, some of the news we have. Denzel Ward won AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Denzel Ward and Baker Mayfield are both up for Rookie of the Week. You know, Jack, these guys have performed so well over these first 5 weeks of the season. What does it say about this draft class that, you know, both Ward and Mayfield are really contributing, and also you have guys like Nick Chubb, Jannard Avery, as others, and others also contributing. Did John Dorsey hit an absolute home run with this draft class so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look, 4 out of the first 5 weeks. 4 out of the first 5 weeks, we've had a rookie win Rookie of the Week. And now Denzel Ward's won Special Teams Player of the Week for the block kick he had. I mean, the accolades and all the recognition is coming in, and kudos to John Dorsey, but also to Alonzo Highsmith and Elliott Wolf, who are his essential right-hand men in that front office. And I don't know if you've ever watched Good Morning Football on the NFL Network. It's a great show. Peter Schrager, the last 2 weeks, when they were talking about people to watch, 1 week he's mentioned Elliott Wolf. This week he mentioned Alonzo Highsmith, and he said that both of those guys could be in line for potential general manager positions as soon as this offseason. And, I even said it on Twitter. I said I would hate to see these guys go because I would like to see them finish the job here with Dorsey and get us to the playoffs, or who knows, in a couple years, maybe into the Super Bowl or something. But those guys have worked their tails off in Green Bay, and now here in Cleveland, they deserve their shot at potential general manager role. But to talk about the players, you look at this whole rookie class, and we're still got Corbett and Chad Thomas, who are going to be getting eased into their roles on both offense and defense. But from the guys that we drafted to the undrafted guys like Derek Willis and Desmond Harrison, John Dorsey's done a fantastic job with this first draft class he's had in Cleveland.
Absolutely. And when you talk about Wolf and Highsmith really quickly, I would love to see a situation to maybe after the season, you slide Dorsey into that kind of team president role, and then you slide, Wolf or Highsmith into the general manager role, just so you can keep these guys and keep that continuity. Because I'm with you. I would hate to lose, one of those two guys, if not both of them. Losing both of those guys in one offseason would I would not be a fan of that. They have to figure out a way to keep them in that front office. There is some injury news that we have to talk about. Rashard Higgins is out 2 to 4 weeks with the MCL sprain. He went down in the game on Sunday, and Willis was one of the big factors in stepping up in his absence. How much is Higgins being out going to affect the Browns on offense, and who do you think can help replace him, replace those targets that he was getting?
Losing Higgins is going to be a blow for the next couple of weeks. I think he told reporters that he's trying to come back next week. I wouldn't want him to rush it by any means, because you wouldn't want to re-aggravate the injury. But, obviously he's had a great connection with Baker Mayfield from training camp on, and obviously that's been the guy that Baker's essentially been relying on, but now he's going to have to work more with Jarvis Landry, with Antonio Callaway, and get the chemistry built up with them. But when you talk about replacing him on offense, there's a guy that wears number 29 that's really been underutilized so far through these first 5 games, and that's Duke Johnson. And he's even come out publicly complaining about the workload he's getting. He's only averaging 5 touches a game compared to the 10 touches he was getting last year. So I would really like to see him be incorporated more in this offense, moving him out to wide receiver, letting him try to get his hands on the ball, because when he gets his hands on the ball, he makes plays.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we've talked on this podcast about Duke Johnson and what kind of playmaker he is and what he can do for his offense. And Hugh's been talking about this season that he wants to get Duke Johnson more involved. Well, here's your chance to get him more involved. He's a special player, and he did sign that extension this past offseason. So they expect him to contribute, and he's just not getting the opportunity to. Between rushes and targets in the passing game, you're looking at maybe 10, 12 of those per game, and that's not nearly enough. I think. I think he needs about 20 or so, and hopefully he can get that. And it sucks that Higgins goes down, but maybe that could help feature Duke Johnson a little bit more. With Higgins being out, the Browns did elevate Dontrell Hilliard from the practice squad to the active roster. I think this move is kind of related to the special teams more than it is about adding another running back. But it could be interesting to me that, with Higgins out, you move. You get Duke more reps at wide receiver, and you have another guy at running back just to, soften the blow if something were to happen.
Yeah, I think, them bringing up Hilliard was essentially for special teams purpose. I think, they're trying to find a guy at returner, and, obviously Hilliard showed something during the preseason. He averaged around 24 yards per kick return, and then he also showed something in the running game. So it could be a situation where if a running back were to go down, they could try to get Hilliard some touches maybe. I mean, this is a guy that rushed for almost 3,000 yards at Tulane. He's only he got clocked around 4.4 speed, but if you watch his tape, whether it was in the preseason with the Browns or, at Tulane, he runs faster than 4.4 when he's out on the football field. So, and he can make guys miss, and he showed that in the preseason. So hopefully he'll be a boost to the special teams unit. It's been one of the worst, and I think almost NFL history at this point through 5 games. So they could take literally anything at this point, and hopefully it'll turn into a positive.
Are you surprised that they went with Hilliard over the potential of maybe bringing back Matthew Days?
At first, yeah. I had said it, I think, last week or a couple weeks ago, but turns out Matthew Days actually signed with San Francisco. He's on their practice squad currently, so and they're having problems at running back. So this could be a situation where Days might actually get to play Monday night against Green Bay for him. So they went with Hilliard. He's been with the team throughout preseason and obviously through these first 5 weeks through the practice squad. So he's obviously got a more familiarity to Todd Haley's offense than Days does.
All right, some of the more fun stuff, I guess you could say. Yesterday during practice, the Browns got a special visitor, and none other than Snoop Dogg. I just kind of laughed when I saw this because, the Browns are probably starting to get good, and you're probably going to see some bandwagon fans jump on this Browns train that's starting to get rolling here. Is that something you're okay with? Are you okay with bandwagon fans?
I mean, it doesn't bother me. It didn't bother me in 2014 when all the LeBron fans came and jumped on the Cavs bandwagon. Obviously, a bunch jumped off when LeBron left, but some people actually did stick around and are staying loyal to the Cavs. But yeah, I don't have a problem with it. We all know that deep down inside there is some closet Browns fans out there. not just nationwide, but I think all over the world there is. And I think now that the Browns are starting to potentially turn the corner, I wouldn't say they fully turned the corner just yet. You're starting to see people come out of the woodwork. Now, we all know Snoop Dogg is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and he was in town yesterday because he's promoting an upcoming play that he's going to be having in Cleveland in a couple weeks. He was making the media rounds and happened to stop by the Browns facility. But, yeah, I don't have a problem with the bandwagon fans. The more the merrier is all I got to say.
I'm just kind of happy that we're at the point where we might actually gain bandwagon fans. That kind of makes me happy that the Browns' talent level is actually drawing some of those people. Now, maybe the biggest story in regards to the Browns over the first two home wins that they've had this season is at both games there has been a possum in attendance. Everyone's seen the video of the fan catching the possum in the stands that Thursday night game against the New York Jets. And then Sunday morning, the Browns tweeted out that there was, I don't know if it's the same possum, but there's another possum that was running across in front of the stadium near one of the gates. So the Browns have completely embraced this so-called rally possum and have started to sell rally possum dolls at the stadium. One of the more memorable things was the rally monkey that the Los Angeles Angels had, maybe 5-6 years ago. Are you fully on board with the rally possum?
Absolutely, and don't forget the rally chicken from the Cleveland Indians a couple years ago. I mean, there's always these random animals, whatever, helps the team somehow find success. I mean, I'm all for it. I think the fans have totally embraced the rally possum. I think it's awesome that the team's embracing it as well. It's been fun the last couple of weeks. Hopefully another possum shows up to First Energy Stadium on Sunday, because it seems like whenever he shows up, the Browns seem to come away with a win.
So someone mentioned that they should get rid of Swagger and have a possum on a leash by the end zone for the entire game. I don't know how well that would work, but that would be damn entertaining for me. All right, more serious stuff now. We're going to get into our preview of the Browns and the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know how many times I'm going to say San Diego in this next part, but we'll try to get through it here. All right, the Chargers are coming down this Sunday. Obviously, when you look at the Chargers, they have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and Philip Rivers. He's been doing it a long time. And Philip Rivers this season, he has 110 quarterback rating against the blitz, and obviously the Browns are going to be attacking them with their kind of suspect offensive line. Philip Rivers is 4-2 against the Browns in his career. So, when you look at those statistics of what Rivers has done this season against the blitz, what else do you think the Browns need to do defensively to help stop the future Hall of Famer at quarterback?
Well, I think, obviously, you look at that number against the blitz. He does have a high number against them. And right now, their injury report, they got a couple banged up offensive linemen. And I think Greg Williams will see that, and I think he's going to keep blitzing. The one thing is, I don't know if they faced a defense with such freak athletes like the Browns do. So even if, we do create a blitz and a pressure, Philip Rivers is 37 years old. Is he going to be able to maneuver fast enough to get away from guys like Ogunjobi, from Myles Garrett, from Emmanuel Ogbah, from Jannard Avery? I think they just need to keep applying pressure on him. He's only been sacked 6 times, but like I said, some of his offensive linemen are banged up right now. So the Browns could definitely take that to their advantage. But you look at Rivers, I mean, to me, he's always one of the most underrated quarterbacks in this league. I mean, he's been doing it, like you said, a long time, just as long as Ben and Eli, and he's still putting up great numbers. I mean, this year, 70% completion percentage, almost 1,500 yards already, 13 touchdowns and only 2 picks. So he's making plays, and he's also protecting the football. So, Rivers is like these other quarterbacks that are aging. I mean, he's getting better with age. Yeah,
Philip is a heck of a quarterback, and he's someone that, you mentioned the 70% completion percentage. And to me, this kind of falls back to that week 2 matchup that they had against Drew Brees and the Saints. He's going to get the ball quick. So, the Browns' pressure isn't always going to be there. And if you blitz them, you better be ready for the repercussions with that. And, what's nice is I have confidence in our secondary, especially with Denzel Ward, to lock down some of their receivers. But, Melvin Ingram or Melvin Gordon is somebody that you're really going to have to look out for. This season, he has 5.9 per offensive touch. He has 6 touchdowns. He does more than just run the football. He is great at catching the ball out of the backfield. And, the Browns have had trouble this year of, screen passes, quick passes to wide receivers or running backs. And it's something that they really have to focus on, this Sunday. And, when you look at the running backs getting out of the backfield, that's going to rely on the linebackers. And so you're going to be looking at Jamie Collins. You're going to be looking at Christian Kirksey, Joe Schobert, looking at these guys to keep a tab on Gordon most of the time. And he's a very shifty guy, so you're going to have to tackle him. You're not going to be able to miss any tackles with Gordon as well. So you have confidence in the linebackers this week against Melvin Gordon?
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to bring their A game when it comes to, facing Gordon and also Gordon's backup, Austin Eckler. I mean, you look at both of these guys, they're making plays, whether it's running the ball or receiving the ball. I mean, like you said, Gordon's averaging 6 yards per offensive touch. Austin Eckler is averaging 8.5 yards per touch. So, it's going to be a Blake Williams. I mean, he is not a good linebacker coach. He's got a lot of talent there. He needs to bring his A game coaching, and obviously the linebackers have to bring their A game on the field as well. Luckily, the Browns get back James Burgess this week. He was missed the last couple games with a knee injury. So they're going to be able to rotate these linebackers in and keep everybody fresh. Collins, Kirksey, Schobert, Avery in some instances, and now Burgess. So, the talent's there on that linebacking core, and I think they can get the job done and hopefully limit these Chargers running backs.
Yeah, the running backs is something I'm definitely worried about. You looked at, James Conner got us. Kamara didn't get us too bad, but the guy from Baltimore got us a little bit. So the running backs is definitely something that they're gonna have to focus on this week. They do have 3 big targets at wide receiver. Travis Benjamin probably isn't going to play this week, but they still have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Terrell Williams. They have 5 touchdowns combined. We've talked about the secondary a little bit. Obviously, they're still, they're going to be missing Mitchell for a while. But, guys like Gaines and Carey stepped up last week. Do you have confidence in the secondary that they could build on what they did last week against Baltimore and continue to perform well?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think, last week we were all worried who was going to step up in Terrence Mitchell's absence, and E.J. Gaines did. I think he was one of the top cover corners last week, according to Pro Football Focus. His QB rating when Flacco was targeting was around 44.6, I think was the number. But, this week they're going up against some big wide receivers. I mean, Allen's 6'2", and both of the Williams boys are 6'4". So, it's going to be a physical matchup because you're looking at monsters on that Chargers offense. Luckily, we don't have to go against Travis Benjamin, who is a speedy guy. From his time here in Cleveland, we know what kind of playmaker Travis Benjamin is. But, Mike Williams missed most of his rookie season last year with injury. He's come back. He's been a big contributor. And Tyrell Williams has been an under-the-radar wide receiver. Just his physicality at 6'4", allows him to make big plays. So this Chargers offense is going to be tough, but I am confident the way the secondary is played that they can get the job done on Sunday.
The Chargers do have a rookie of their own on the defense that has absolutely impacted the game as well, and that is Derwin James. He's somebody that I wanted in the draft as well. This season so far, he has 3 sacks, an interception, and 6 pass breakups. And He's somebody that's going to give Denzel Ward a run for his money in terms of Defensive Rookie of the Year. What do the Browns have to do to neutralize Derwin James this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on Derwin James. When I was talking with my buddies Tay and GK last night, I was talking about how Denzel Ward's the clear-cut favorite. Kind of forgot about Derwin James, but he has been the impact safety everybody thought he was going to be coming out of Florida State. He's all over the field. He's a safety. I mean, he can go down and be a corner. I mean, he just makes plays all over the place. He's got 5 QB hits and 3 sacks. I mean, that just tells you what kind of impact safety he is. For the Browns, Nick Chubb and whoever's back there in the backfield, Chubb, Hyde, or Duke, they're going to have to watch him on blitz situations, definitely, to keep Baker Mayfield upright, because he can come in on a blitz and get you very quickly. But in terms of the receivers, you're going to have David Njoku, and that's going to be an interesting matchup. Maybe try to keep the ball away from Derwin James, but Baker, I don't think he's afraid to make plays if he sees one. But, Derwin James is definitely going to be the guy to watch on that Chargers defense, because you don't know where he's going to be. And when he shows up and makes a big play, it might be a game-changing play that could affect the game one way or another.
Yeah, he's a special player. And I remember in the pre-draft process, Louis Riddick from ESPN, he was one of the guys that drafted Sean Taylor, and he said that he reminds him a lot of him. So that's a heck of a compliment. And, that he's a special player. You definitely gonna have to watch out for him on Sunday. The defense of the Chargers is missing Joey Bosa still, but they still have another guy in Melvin Ingram who has 2.5 sacks and 9 quarterback hits this season. You saw Desmond Harrison last week struggle with Terrell Suggs. While Suggs didn't get to the quarterback too often, he was absolutely causing a lot of havoc back there. And Harrison was able to hold his own when it really mattered. But he's going to have another test this week with Melvin Ingram. You confident that this offensive line can continue to kind of hold together with having these pass rushers week after week?
Yeah, definitely. I think last week was a little hiccup against Baltimore, obviously giving up 5 sacks, but part of that wasn't on the offensive line completely. Part of it was on Baker and his ability to get the ball out quickly. Ingram's going to be a tough test. They don't have to worry about Joey Bosa, thank God, but I think this offensive line keeps getting better and better each week, and I think the fact that they did have an off week is they're going to come in this week, work harder, and make sure that Baker stays upright so that he's able to make plays for this offense.
These guys are able to get after the quarterback, Derwin James, Melvin Ingram. The Browns really this season haven't utilized the screen particularly enough. Is that something that you look for them to use this weekend with having all these pass rushers on the other side?
Yeah, it's possible. Obviously, if they want to get Duke Johnson the ball in his hands, screen plays would be one way to do it. And not just him, try it with Nick Chubb. We've seen the speed he has against Oakland. Maybe make a screenplay for him. Maybe they try to do one of these reverse plays that they worked last week, trying to get the ball to Callaway. We got all these playmakers on offense. Todd Haley's going to have to get creative because – while the Chargers defense has some banged up guys, they're missing Bosa, they're missing Jason Verrett, Jatavis Brown, who is a Zips alum, he's questionable this week with an injury. The Chargers defense is down, but they still have some playmakers. So Haley's going to have to get creative with some play calling. Don't get too cute about it, but try to catch these Chargers defense off guard and try to get the ball down the field to score some points.
This is kind of unrelated to the game, but I wanted to get your opinion on it very quickly. Today, Todd Haley spoke to the media, and he was asked again about that, the reverse in overtime, towards the end of overtime. What did it say to you that Haley took absolute full responsibility for it, said it was dumb, and I guess he even got a phone call from Bill Parcells himself telling him that it was a dumb play?
Yeah, in that situation, pin back towards your end zone, it was a dumb play call, and I'm glad Haley owned up to it. But if you go back and watch, if Streeter would have cut in instead of trying to go on the outside, he still might have been able to get some yardage out of that play. So, I mean, he could say it was a dumb play call in that situation, but I think if it was executed the right way, I don't think Haley would have been calling it a dumb play call today.
To me, I probably would have ran it with the guy that's been there all year in Callaway instead of the guy that's been here like a week instead of Streeter. But, they won the game, so I guess we don't have to be too upset about it. All right, prediction time. Last week I moved ahead because you picked the Ravens to win. I picked the Browns to win, so I am now 2-2-1. You are 1-3-1. What say you about your prediction this weekend for the Browns and Chargers?
Well, I'm just going to tell people right now, don't take the Chargers lightly, although their defense right now, they're giving up 26 points a game, but they're also scoring 27 points a game, so it's going to be a big test for our defense. I think it's going to be a close game, and I'm going to say the Browns win. I think, the momentum with Baker and the way our defense is playing, and we're at home, so that means there's going to be a possum there, which is our good luck charm. I'm going with the Browns. I think, these close games, I'm giving it to the team with the better defense. And right now, I think the Browns have a better defense than the Chargers. So I say the Browns win, and my final score prediction will be 24-20.
I'm kind of with you. The momentum the Browns have built over the last month or so. Obviously, starting with the Jets game, winning that one. The tough heartbreak game they had against Oakland. Yeah, that one sucked, but they did a lot of good things in that game. They scored 42 points. The way they played last weekend against Baltimore, the defense stepping up when it needed to step up in the fourth quarter and in overtime. I think the Browns are going to win this game. If I had to put a score on it, I'll say 31-27. I'll give that one 31-27. I might just have the same prediction as you for the rest of the season, just so I can maintain my one-game lead that I have because of last week. But in terms of why, I think Baker is really going to show up this week. Obviously, he threw for 342 last week. There were a lot of throws that he left on that field last weekend, and I think as time goes on this season, he's going to make those throws. The one to Landry on the slant is one that he absolutely could have had that probably would have been a touchdown. So, as he gets more experience, as he continues to grow as a quarterback, he's going to hit those kinds of throws, and he's just going to be a better overall quarterback. And, I know it's early, but I think we might have finally found our franchise quarterback, and I'm just looking forward to watching him continue to improve as we move towards the rest of the season. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss before we got on out of here tonight?
We are good to go, buddy.
Boy, I tell you what.
Buddy boy.
Buddy boy. What's up, buddy boy? All right, buddy boy. Go ahead and plug everything you have to plug, buddy boy.
All right. You can follow me on Twitter at JMcCurryCLE. Check out my site, thenorthcoastsports.com. Check out my guest spot on the TK and J show. They had me on Wednesday night. We got to talk some Browns, also talk some Indians after that heartbreaking sweep in the ALDS. Check out their show page on Twitter. It's TK or J. I'm sorry, I'm screwing this up completely. Follow the TK and J show on Twitter at JAE_TK. They're on all podcast platforms. They're doing a great job over there. They're another podcast in the Cleveland sports podcast community, and we're happy to have them on. They're very supportive of us. We're supportive of them as well.
Absolutely. We'll always be supportive of anyone that wants to start a podcast because, we're here doing this the same as they are. They're trying to put out quality content, and that's all we're trying to do for our listeners. And as always, you can find our podcast on Twitter and on Facebook at 1085 Gridiron. You can find our podcast on pretty much every single platform that you can think of, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Anthony Joki, J-O-K-I. With that, we can get out of here, and hopefully next week we're talking about another Browns win. Maybe we could have our third 1085 victory pod of the season. I'm really looking forward to hopefully having that. And as always, as we get on out of here, go Browns.